US diplomatic missions across the Muslim world are being targeted by more anti-American protests, which are now into this second weekend. Tens of thousands of Nigerian Muslims held a peaceful march earlier Saturday in the capital of Bangladesh. Hundreds of protesters have clashed with police, with scores reportedly injured. And fresh rallies have also taken place in Pakistan, where at least 19 were killed on Friday. The Pakistani minister has offered $100,000 indeed for the death of the maker of that Islam-mocking film that sparked the unrest. Earlier in Libya, demonstrators vented their anger at the bases of Islamist militias suspected of killing the American ambassador to the country. A lot's going on. Let's get some reaction to it. Then from Lawrence Freeman, he's he's from Executive Intelligence Review magazine in Washington, D.C. Sir, very good evening. Thanks for being with us. Now, I mentioned it just now. Let's start with this one. Pakistan's railway ministers apparently put a bounty on the head of the maker of that controversial film. What sort of message is that sending to Washington, and how's it going to go down with the Muslim protesters too?
The situation is not directly caused by this Mickey Mouse film attacking Islam. What you have is you have people who are trying to stir up certain elements in the Muslim world, and it's being orchestrated exactly to get the most extreme elements into these kinds of frenzied demonstrations. But the underlying reality is the fact that the U.S. policy towards Libya, towards North Africa, towards the Middle East is the #1 problem. And it's the demonstrations are being used to create essentially a 100 years type religious war, which is something that's been written about called the clash of civilization. But what happened in Libya predated, the planning for it predated this Mickey Mouse anti-Islam film. So that wasn't the cause of the crisis in Libya. It was well known.
So as you see it, who is the primary cause of the stirring here, as you're putting it?
Well, first of all, you've got the British geopolitical policy has always been to create a crisis among religious confrontations in the Middle East. And then don't forget, they've been running this area for almost a century. But the particular elements of the Obama administration, right now, he is guilty of not taking the action to protect a U.S. ambassador. This would be called criminal malfeasance, because there were warnings days in advance of a serious security problem in Libya. There'd been a travel warning issued at the end of August, and the Obama administration did nothing. And in fact, the Obama administration finds itself more and more in an alliance with al-Qaeda, who are the elements being deployed in the situation. But the film did not get released until late in the evening. And if you look at the quality of attack that took place, the planning, and then the second attack that took place at 2:30 in the morning at the Safe House, this was not spontaneous. This was first.
Indeed, you're certainly not the first to have said that to us. A lot of our guests on the programme have been saying that. I mean, let's look at what's happening on the ground in Libya. Protesters there have apparently now tried to take revenge on the militia believed to be responsible for killing the American ambassador you're talking about there. What about the majority of Libyans, though? Whose side are they on now, as you see it?
You can't look at, if you look at what's going on now, where you have a group of Libyans now attacking other Libyans and killing them or burning their headquarters, this is not a good situation. This is not civilized society. We helped create this with Obama's illegal war of regime change and then the assassination of President Gaddafi. We set this in motion. And you have people going on and on, like the U.S. Ambassador Susan Rice, saying everything is good, everything is peaceful. It's not. There is no stability. There is no conception of a national government. We set off a tinderbox throughout North Africa and the Middle East with the overthrow and assassination of Gaddafi. And that's what you see being played out right now.
And just focusing back in on the killing of the ambassador, Washington's pledged to avenge his killing, and 3 other diplomatic staff as well. How far could the US go, therefore, in seeking to deliver said punishment?
Well, look at it from an ironic standpoint. It was some branch of the Salafist extremists or al-Qaeda that were involved in the assassination. Now, who has been working with al-Qaeda? Well, we've been working with them in Syria to overthrow the Assad government. Plus, there's something else that I think people should look at, which is the fact is that the Bush-Cheney administration covered up a very crucial portion of the congressional research investigation into 9/11-1. And there's 28 pages that identified the Saudi Arabian monarchy and the Saudi ambassador at the time, Bandar, as complicit in helping and funding the 9/11 attack. When President Obama came to office, he met with the families of 9/11, and he said to them, I will take responsibility of releasing these 28 pages. Well, we haven't. And former Senator Graham from Florida has issued a book focusing on this. So there's a very, very questionable relationship that this Obama administration has to the Saudis, who are responsible for many of the Salafist demonstrations, and to al-Qaeda. And that's why there should be, and there actually are elements in the U.S. Congress now investigating this, calling for impeachment of President Obama, which would start with an investigation
I hear
of
what
these.
You're saying, Lawrence. I mean, this is something we could talk about at length all night, the twists and turns of it, but we got the gist of it. Thank you for your thoughts. We're out of time, I'm afraid. Live from Washington there. Lawrence Freeman from Executive Intelligence at Review Magazine. Thanks ever so much.